We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show, episode 345. I'm your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. Joining us this week is the one and only, the undisputed scholar, Mr. Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, how are we doing tonight, sir?
Honestly, I feel like you should do the intros a little differently because it's Hell in a Cell prediction. So it's you and me having our brawl in the Scholars of Wrestling Championship Tournament to determine who fights the other scholar who advanced and actually gives a shit about this tournament.
You had me until the end, fool.
Hey, they made it look, or at least Charlie made it perfectly clear he threw in the towel just so he can go for the beef case. Even if he didn't do that, he still would have lost. So he was being a complete tool about it.
Speaking of beef cases and complete tools, joining us this week is also one and only Mr. Scholar Brian, the victor from last week, 2 weeks ago, rather. Scholar Brian, how are you doing this evening, sir?
Complete tools, huh? I've won that beef case twice, and I know how to use it. So
that's why I said beef case as well, sir.
So hopefully Charlie has learned from my holding the beef case. He's learned, and he better win. But the good thing about this particular prediction show is, at least for me and Charlie, our rules are already set for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So we're just chilling. We're just hanging out. We're having a good time. We're throwing shit at the wall, seeing what happens. We have no pressure. We have no pressure for this particular show.
But then again, this show, either way, is much richer for the experience because joining us once again, the one and only Scholar Charlie. Scholar Charlie, stirring it up. How are you doing this evening, sir?
It's not about how I'm doing. It's not about how my rival Scholar Brian is. It's about how you and Tarek are doing on this magical evening.
And that note, we should just be the one to start each prediction each time. It should just alternate to me and you beginning the predictions.
I have
honestly,
with this.
We should have done that with Brian and Charlie for Double or Nothing. We should have had them be the starting predictors, but
on Owens and Zayn, because I have no idea where I'm going to go with that. So you guys can start everything.
All right. Well, that'll determine the turn order then, if everyone's all good with that. So without any further ado, what do you say we just cut right to the chase? It's predictions for WWE Hell in a Cell 2021. The championship tournament is underway. Me versus Tarek. And Tarek, I'm going to acquiesce to you first for the first prediction to go first. Firstly, just announced this evening. Hey, first, let us speak first. First off, just announced this evening, we've got for the upteenth millionth time, we've got Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. We're here again. Tarek, I'm going to pitch it over to you. Who do you got, Owens or Zayn?
These two guys can wrestle forever, and I won't give a shit. Honestly, I really have nothing for this match other than just giving it to Kevin Owens.
Not so easy, is it?
I'm not on it. It's like, it's not that it's not easy. It's more than I just don't really care. I love both these guys, but the story of WWE right now is that the feuds are kind of lackluster at best.
And you know what? For that exact thing, I'm going to say, you know what? This can go on forever. They can fight forever. That's why I'm going for Sami Zayn to win. I think he's due. Plus, we got to mix it up. We're going head to head. I'm backing Sami Zayn.
You didn't need to predict this one to differ. I actually think we may have more than one difference of predictions on this.
Probably.
Actually.
I'm still going to pitch it over to you, Scholar Brian. It's your pick first, or next, rather. Who do you got?
It's basically, okay, there's a train of thought here, and it's that in every big match, In every big match, Sami Zayn is the loser. So this wasn't very hard for me. Okay, he got one over on. This is the one where I can see WWE doing the 50-50 booking, where Sami Zayn got one over on Kevin Owens tonight on SmackDown, causing him to lose to Commander Aziz. So Kevin Owens gets his revenge. It's one of those. WWE does a lot of rematches, but when it's Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, I don't care, because there's something new in every match that they do. Their chemistry is so good, you know that it doesn't matter. The match is going to be great, but there's no reason for Sami Zayn to win here. So Kevin Owens wins. He can move on to whatever he's doing next. It's basically when they have nothing for Kevin Owens to do that particular month, they give him Sami Zayn at the pay-per-view. And there's nothing wrong with that, because it's awesome. Because it's awesome every time. When all else fails, he has that one guy he can go to have a ready-made feud at a pay-per-view where he could get a win and then move on to whatever he's doing next. So that's what's going to happen here. Kevin Owens wins.
And last but certainly not least, we got Scholar Charlie. Who do you got between Owens and Zayn?
So you and Tarek, Zayn and Owens.
Tarek has Owens. I've got Zayn.
Tarek.
Brian's got Owens. Are you going to split the party?
You know what? I'll join you, Jeff. Let's go with Zayn. Make things interesting. Give the people a reason to watch.
You're not even playing D&D with us yet, and you're already splitting the party. I love it.
Yep.
Only one of you understands that reference. It's okay.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next match that was also just announced this evening. We've got Seth Rollins versus Cesaro once again. This time I'm going to go first.
Actually, can I just add, my
No.
sound went out. My sound went out. I didn't hear Charlie's prediction. Do you pick
Oh.
Sammy?
Zayn, yes.
Okay. All right. Now you can continue. Thank you.
Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. I'm picking Cesaro. Don't even dance around this. Fool, say the words.
The love of my life, Cesaro, is going to win.
D
The end.
freaking lightful. Charlie, it's your pick. Who do
The
you
love
got?
of Tarek's life, Cesaro is going to win.
And Brian, let's bring it back full circle. Just say the words.
I'm not going to. That's it. Rollins wins.
Cause you're a douche. Anyway.
No, not
Hey.
really.
No.
Cesaro got his singles win at WrestleMania. He
It
got his return beatdown last week. Okay, so logical booking in my eyes says that this feud doesn't end at this pay-per-view. Rollins gets the win and we continue.
I will admit I wouldn't be shocked if they give Seth the win here. I will admit that. I won't be surprised at all. But yeah, I guess this is now just me thinking with my penis.
When in doubt, go for
When in doubt, when it comes to Cesaro, I just have to think with my penis. Because he is just one sexy, sexy man. I love him.
All right. I've got no segue for that. Alexa Bliss versus Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, right.
Tarek's pick first. Alexa Bliss or Shayna Baszler? Who do you got, fool?
Before I make my prediction on this, because I already have it down, it's Alexa Bliss.
Hands down.
Which is disappointing because I do want Shayna to actually have a win. Because when was really the last time she actually won anything? I mean, she fucking lost to Reginald. I was trying for a while to try and think, what is it about Alexa Bliss's character that I don't like? Because I love The Fiend. You guys know me. I like the spooky shit.
As do I.
And I love The Undertaker. I love the Boogeyman. I love Papa Shango. And I love the Fiend, and I'm just like, what is it about Alexa Bliss's character that I don't like in comparison to the Fiend? Because people are calling Alexa Bliss Lady Fiend. I guess really, when it comes down to it, is that when you come look at the Fiend's character, Bray Wyatt brought his history to this character. He has all his puppets be in reference to his characters of the past and his what's the word? Uh uh the things based he brings
Gimmicks.
things gimmick like not really gimmicks, it's just his characters are based on something of his enjoyment, like but yeah, he has reasons for the puppets. Alexa Bliss comes in and brings in Lily with, and it's other than just saying, oh, been a part of my childhood. But really, there's nothing in her whole wrestling career that may have hinted at a evil demon doll that is referenced to even anything of her past characters. So
Yeah, Lily could have been a cheerleader or a fairy or something. Would have made a little more sense.
if they had Lily based on anything of her past incarnations, then maybe I would have given a shit. But because this is so out of the blue, and it just I guess it just doesn't work. And I honestly think the Lily thing is stupid. I don't like the Lily doll. Ever since she even brought it in, I'm just like, wow, I don't like this. And it may just stem on my bias of how abrupt they made her turn on the Fiend and then just took the Fiend gimmick and gave it to her. But from what I'm looking at a character perspective, I just am not interested because it's just so abrupt. There's like, oh, she's always had this darkness inside of her in the form of Lily. Yet the only reason she's in this dark character to begin with is because she got manipulated by the Fiend. Yet they don't even reference that at all. So
absolutely,
it's such a change.
And you know what? Yeah, I'm totally right there with you. I totally share that same sentiment. I just sort of write off in my mind as Alexa Bliss being an unreliable narrator, but outside of that, they have legitimately made me hate Alexa Bliss because I'm just like the Fiend, like you, is one of my favorite characters on the active roster today. So I'm like, are you just hijacking someone else's gimmick and giving it to someone else like you've done in the past? But
it's Vince McMahon giving this character to Alexa Bliss.
You know what I mean.
We can't put it on Alexa herself because for what she's doing, she's looked like she's having the time of her life. She's having a blast with this character. I'm just creatively, I just think this doesn't make any sense, and it just takes me out, and it makes me. And for someone who is a big fan of Alexa Bliss, I don't want her to win. I don't want her to succeed because I'm kind of done with this. Them breaking Alexa Bliss and the Fiend up was a huge mistake.
And the fact that someone like you said that speaks volumes to me. Like you, I'm also going to pick Alexa Bliss to win, but at the end of the day, I don't really care. I just want the Fiend to come back. Brian, it's your pick. Who do you got? Alexa Bliss or Shayna Baszler?
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback. This is an obvious Alexa Bliss pick. She can hypnotize people. If you can hypnotize people, it makes no sense when you lose. That's why I didn't understand whenever the Fiend lost. And you can't make me believe that with everything that you've shown of Alexa Bliss, that she should lose, like, ever. So Alexa Bliss wins this, but going off of what Tarek said, Alexa Bliss herself, great actress. Okay. She plays her part perfectly. The problem that I have with it is, while the Fiend was actually freaky and actually scary and intimidating and all that, the problem with Alexa Bliss's character is, even though she has all the same traits, it's childish and doesn't put the same fear and it doesn't give you the same. It doesn't give me the same feeling that I get with the Fiend. So it doesn't. So even though she's doing the same kind of stuff, it doesn't work the same
And
way that the Fiend does. But if you're gonna give her that character, she can't lose here. As much as I hate to say it, because I want Shayna Baszler to do well. I want Shayna Baszler to be the Shayna Baszler that she was in NXT. But if you're having her face this character can't lose based on the powers that you've given her and the way that her character's played. It just wouldn't make sense.
I've got my own thoughts about that, but I'm gonna reserve them for the eventual return of the Fiend. In the meantime, Scholar Charlie, it's your pick. Who do you got between Baszler and Alexa Bliss?
You guys have clearly said all there needs to be said about Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, I'm sorry your sound cut off just for a moment there. Just when you were about to say the word.
With your iPhone, but your
I thought you were going to
sound cut off.
continue with your sentence and just be. I thought you were continuing. It's like, oh yeah, you guys took everything out. Wait, do we lose him? Do we lose his sound? But no, that was it. There is one thing.
I don't know what's up with your iPhone, buddy, but like every time you go to speak, like half your words cut out.
Where's your microphone, man? Where's your bird microphone? Are you using it?
What?
Are you using your purdy microphone?
No, I'm not using my pretty microphone.
There you go. That's the problem. Okay. There is one thing I do want to ask you three about this match.
What's up?
With them hinting at Alexa Bliss hypnotizing Reginald, what are the chances we're actually going to see Reginald get involved in this match?
Reginald, this match is going to be full of spooky shenanigans.
Oh,
yeah.
Reginald's just going to be a part of it. Reginald will probably be the reason that Shayna loses.
He's going to be the distraction.
Yeah, based off of being hypnotized by
Spooky shit.
Alexa Bliss.
I want Reginald to totally make a transformation into Alexa Bliss's like male bodyguard. Give him a totally different name other than Reginald, like the Wraith or something. Put him in like a crazy mask, and when the Fiend eventually comes back, he can be like the bodyguard that can throw at the Fiend, so there can actually be some sort of physical conflict between the two forces.
Hell, there was even a rumor going around that this is all just setting up for Shayna Baszler to be the physical embodiment for Lily. Like the Lily will possess Shayna Baszler and like as a gimmick change.
I'd be okay with that too, honestly.
No, I wouldn't.
No.
I think that's the dumbest thing ever. I don't
No.
know. I am not a fan of that at all.
If Shayna Baszler is not Shayna Baszler, MMA Shayna Baszler, nothing about her work, nothing about the current embodiment of Shayna Baszler works for me.
Absolutely.
The only Shayna Baszler that works for me is the NXT Shayna Baszler and the Shayna Baszler that annihilated 5 people in like 5 minutes in the Elimination Chamber.
You like Vampire Shayna that bit Becky's neck?
Oh
Yes.
God, that was so short. That was way short-lived.
I love
more.
that shit. and then it turned into this, and I'm like, no, I can't stand it.
Jobber Baszler.
Well, hey, moving on to a slightly more complex women's wrestling match. We've got Bianca Belair versus Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship, also inside Hell in a Cell. I believe it is my pick first, and I'm going to go Bianca Belair to win. Fool, who do you got?
For a feud that has been just built on laughing at each other, I'm also going to go with Bianca Belair.
All right, Charlie, it's your pick up next. Who do you got?
3 for Bianca Belair.
All right, and Brian, who do you got? Are you making a quadfecta here?
Yeah, it's gonna be a quadfecta. It's
All
like
about those.
I don't understand. Like the first month of this feud was so good, and then they turned Bailey into a cartoon villain, and now we're just laughing at each other, and apparently laughing at each other gets you in a Hell in a Cell match.
Of course, you know the rules. Qualifying for a hell match.
Yeah, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's Bianca Belair and it's Bailey, so they're gonna give you something good. The match is
Oh,
gonna be great.
that's what we should expect with pay-per-views. The pay-per-view matches will actually be really good. It's like, who gives a shit about the booking when we know that the matches are actually going to be very entertaining?
And that's a
That-
problem because you go into the show not caring because the stories are so bad, and then you're like, oh, but at least the match was good. But
Bianca
instead, it's
Bianca
like,
Belair and Sasha Banks are the perfect example of build doesn't matter. Because you go to their WrestleMania match, all their video package was just about who they are. Who know?
Yeah.
Oh, Bianca won the Rumble. That's it. Forget about the whole storyline of them trying to get along and Reginald being in love with Sasha for reasons unknown. Once again, back to Reginald. With the video package, it just doesn't care because they didn't care about the whole build. It was just, oh, it's Sasha Banks versus Royal Rumble winner Bianca Belair. Everything between that, who cares? It's just, look who's wrestling.
and that's it, and as much as I hate to say it, it's an issue.
Oh,
But let's face it, okay? That's one of the best main events of WrestleMania that WrestleMania has had in years. Okay, but I'm not gonna not give it its due for that. But
it was awesome.
you remember going into the show, it's like we were all saying it. Okay, if we were just going off a build, okay, yeah, the match is gonna be great, but why do I care?
It's like WWE's frame of mind right now is that let's have the build be so terrible. When they watch the pay-per-view, they have so low the audience has so low expectations. When they finally watch it and see it's amazing how amazing it is, we're just like, holy shit, this actually is very good.
But lo and behold, yes.
But yeah, it's everyone's going Bianca on this one. It's
Absolutely.
you're setting up. Okay, I can see a Bianca versus Becky when she returns. Okay, I can see a rematch between Bianca and Sasha for SummerSlam. There's too much for Bianca to still do to have her drop title to Bailey here.
All right, moving on to the next match on the card. We've got for the Raw Women's Championship, we've got Rhea Ripley, the champion, going up against Charlotte Flair once again. Tarek, it is your pick. Who do you got between Rhea or Charlotte?
We are going to be introduced to the 15-time women's champion in Charlotte Flair. Rhea Ripley is right now one of the most unlikable characters in WWE right now. They are doing jack shit with her. And it's coming close to Money in the Bank / SummerSlam, and they're just it's Charlotte Flair. They booked Charlotte Flair so badly recently that it's like, okay, we're having you lose to Nikki Cross 3 times. Here you go. Here's the Raw Women's Championship. You can only succeed downwards.
I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley because all of her overpriced cameos ended up selling out. Brian, who do you got?
This is quite honestly, okay, the toughest one that I had to pick because the heart says Rhea Ripley because this is their first one-on-one since the WrestleMania where Charlotte got one over on her. So I'm like, this is where Rhea gets a win back, right? But then going off of what Tarek said, okay, if you're looking at how Rhea is booked right now, okay, is she a heel or is she his face? I have no idea. You don't.
No. Here's how she's booked. She's booked as a troll. She is a living embodiment of a troll.
But it's also like, is she a heel? Is she a face? She's a troll either way. But what is she? Okay, that's it.
She's completely unlikable. That's what she is.
It's one of those. She cuts promos. She cuts promos. It's like, what are you talking about? What are you doing? It's like, it's
with Charlie's response. I want to say, I would love if Rhea Ripley wins. Because I love Rhea Ripley too, but she has just been, as what me and Brian are saying, she's been booked so badly these past.
Since she won the damn thing. Raw in forever, so.
Oh, I haven't watched Raw either. All I watch are highlights.
Okay.
All I watch are highlights and reviews, and yeah, I feel with certain reviewers, especially the guys at Wrestle Talk, she is just so unlikable right now.
Oh, geez.
That we don't like. It's that point. Like, you know what? Good. Just have her drop the title. She's got the one up on Charlotte on the Go Home show, causing her another loss to Nikki Cross, and she knocked her out. And then they had another brawl later after she beat Asuka, which left Charlotte with a bloody nose. So people are like, "Oh, this could be her." Charlotte just got like with Becky Lynch. She ended up with a bloody face.
Wow.
So
but
yeah,
you know what? The only reason that I'm gonna go with this pick is because Money in the Bank is coming up. And at least for the women's side, okay, other than Asuka, it's been a basically heel dominated Money in the Bank. And let's face it, okay, if Charlotte was in the Money in the Bank match, that's another feather in her cap. So it's like, why give her 15 titles? Why give her 15 titles right now when you can give her the Money in the Bank briefcase and then you can give her 15 titles? So at this point, so it's just like adding on. So for me, it's like you get Rhea Ripley her win that she should have gotten at WrestleMania last year when she was the hottest she'd ever been in crowd wise, and they killed that because they had Charlotte Flair beat her. So here she can get her win back, and then Charlotte can win Money in the Bank, get another, just like the Undisputed Scholar over there, just get another acclaim to her name, and then have her win after that. Have her win her 15th, get that much closer to her father's record.
No, they're gonna have her win it tonight, lose it on Sunday, and win it on Sunday, have her lose it the next night to Rhea Ripley in their rematch, just so Charlotte can get in the Money in the Bank. So that could be her 16th title win to match with her dad.
Fucking hell. But yeah, definitely going Rhea on this one.
All right, and bring us all home, Charlie. How evil is this match going to get?
Rhea Ripley.
I feel like history's about to repeat itself.
All right, and last but not least,
same thing at WrestleMania.
And last but not least, we've got Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship inside Hell in a Cell. I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre because he sells a lot of cameos. Tarek, who do you got?
Oh man! I called it. Oh, just for you guys, I called Brian before we recorded, and I'm just like, guaranteed this is going to be our difference. This is going to be one of our differences. I said we were going to have at least two differences, but the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn thing caught me by surprise, and now it's three. I'm going with Bobby Lashley.
I knew you would.
I'm going with Bobby Lashley because I could see them taking Drew McIntyre off the WWE Championship for a while, because Drew McIntyre has been in a WWE title match in every single pay-per-view since last year's WrestleMania. Either as the champion or going for the championship, Drew McIntyre has been in a WWE Championship. I could see them now just giving this win to Bobby, just so they can put Drew McIntyre away from the title picture for a while, because I could see them even doing more with Bobby Lashley as champion than Drew McIntyre. They even started hinting at it with MVP and Kofi Kingston the last couple of weeks. So now it looks like they may go for a Bobby Lashley versus Kofi Mania 2 for at least the build to Money in the Bank. They already gave us a big moment that has been kind of the big feud for Drew and Bobby. Drew McIntyre got the Claymore and the pin on Bobby Lashley on this past episode of Raw. They gave us that big win for Drew. The only thing they can do now is just give that win back to Lashley and have him still be WWE champion while taking Drew away from the title picture temporarily, just so the audience doesn't go any further away from Drew McIntyre, because it's already happened. People are already tired of Drew McIntyre in the WWE Championship picture. And hell, even I'm starting to notice that Drew is slowly turning into a suffering succotash type character by going on with these weird Scottish stories that lead to absolutely nothing with his promos. It's like, oh, this reminds me of some Scottish folklore. What does that have to do with the championship? Absolutely nothing.
As
and he said that.
Scots once said.
Yeah. So right now I feel like Drew needs to take a break from the WWE Championship, just so we could be reminded how actually cool he is, and not the Becky Lynch, oh, isn't he cool? Like them telling us, oh, Drew's so cool, isn't he?
Well, let's take it over to Scholar Charlie. Is Drew cool?
No.
Or do we love Lashley?
Bobby Lashley.
Bobby Lashley it is. And taking us all home, Scholar Brian, who are you going for?
You know what? On this one, I'm gonna go with Jeff.
That's your first mistake.
I've got
Wow.
Because you know what? My deal here is, okay, you've got SummerSlam coming up, which is the first full capacity crowd that you're going to have. Okay, WrestleMania, as much as the people in there there was a lot of people in there, it was not full capacity. SummerSlam is going to be the first one that's going to be full capacity. You're gonna potentially have a full crowd in there, and the only way I see Bobby Lashley keeping that title is if they have Brock Lesnar in the cards to show up at SummerSlam, and I'm not convinced that Brock Lesnar is going to show up for SummerSlam, because you already have the potential for Roman Reigns versus John Cena at SummerSlam. So I feel that they're going to want at least one babyface champion going into SummerSlam with a full capacity crowd. So as much as I can see them going with Bobby Lashley and continuing that, but with them actually adding that stipulation that he won't for Drew and all that, I don't see them going into a full capacity crowd at SummerSlam with two heel major champions. So I'm going to go with Drew to get the win here.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I honestly didn't expect this kind of a result, but now to look at where the predictions lie, I'm
We're a
seriously
much
digging
more,
it.
you and I are a much more entertaining championship matchup between these two.
Hey, we're
Hey
only
man,
saying
you
that
don't give
because
me
it's
that
not.
fist. Don't give me that up yours thing. You threw in your match. You took any joy from your championship tournament
I know.
match and threw it out the goddamn window.
Hey,
So
I know.
shame.
just wait. This is gonna be something chaotic is gonna happen at Money in the Bank. I can guarantee it. But until that day, you got our predictions for Hell in a Cell 2021. Now we're pitching over to you, our listening, wrestling, discussing, marking out audience. Just like us, we want to hear from you. We want to know what you think. Where are your predictions? Where do they lie? Drop us a line all across the internet as you do. YouTube comments, Facebook posts, and our personal favorites, the Twitter machine. Starting, you can check us out all every week at Scholars OW, our main account for our latest episodes uploaded every single week. And you can also join the conversation on our personal Twitter accounts. Fool, where can they reach you?
You can reach me slowly growing my goatee back because my kids hate that I clean shave at the Avatar. Seriously, they just keep asking me, "Is it gonna grow back?" I'm like, "Yes, it's gonna grow back." What? You don't like me clean shaven? No.
From the mouths of
They are
babes.
they are brutally honest.
Oh,
They,
yes.
they don't like clean shaven me.
Speaking of brutally honest, Scholar Brian, where can they reach you?
You can find me eagerly lying in wait, trying to figure out who I'm going to beat and become the Scholars of Wrestling heavyweight champion at Money in the Bank at Atomic Beanpole.
And transitions. Charlie, where can they reach you?
You can find me dreaming about that sweet, sweet beef kiss at Charlie.
And you can check me out being extremely grateful the sound didn't cut off at that moment at I'm Robbie Rage.
It's actually kind of funny because now looking at the four of us, we are like embodiments of our facial hair rating. I'm peach fuzz. Jeff is like classic goatee, borderline full beard. Charlie is full beard, and Brian's goat face.
If that actually reflects the final reviews, then I'm in for a good time. And again, you already knew that because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're
You're
welcome.
You're welcome. All right.
See you all at Hell in a Cell.
It's on, fool. It's on.